Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to folks that are remote. Can I have your attention, please? I'd like to welcome you all to our first of many town hall meetings to come. Our plan is to actually hold quarterly town hall meetings, and the idea being that every quarter going forward, we'll keep you updated with the state of our business in total, as well as recognize various employee achievements. So our agenda today, first we're going to give you an update on the first half of this year and Q2, and then we'll talk a little bit about the outlook, the financial outlook for the second half of this year. I just want to talk a moment about some of the organizational changes we've had over the past few months, give you an update there. Then talk a little bit about our initiatives. I'll give you an introduction into what those initiatives are. I'll talk a little bit about the sales forecasting. Pascal was too shy to actually come here and want to do this presentation himself. We all know how shy Pascal is. Harjeet will talk about lean manufacturing. Leon's going to give us an update on our product strategy and roadmap. And then between Leticia and myself, we'll talk about some of the personnel announcements, spot awards, and then of course we'll have a Q&A session. So I wanted to hit it at a top level. Again, as I mentioned before, I just wanted to spend a moment talking about our organization a little bit. Now, as you know, since I've started, there have been several changes we've had in the organization. Those changes are really represented in the gray shaded boxes. So, for example, Leon is taking a much more broader responsibility in terms of overall product marketing, has now responsibility for product management, technical publications as well. Christian Beck is now, he's been promoted to Senior Product Manager and will manage our Intellect Plus product portfolio, which Leon will talk about in a little while. Pascal, again, the shy and introverted Pascal, has been promoted to our Global Sales VP. I think it's really important that we ensure we've got commonality and consistency in our commercial organizations globally. And that requires really a single point of full-time management. Pascal has been doing a great job so far. We're also leveraging George. George has got tremendous experience and really extensive contacts across the industry. He's now managing our key accounts. He's got very strong contacts within companies like Carlsberg, for example. And again, we want to be able to leverage that and grow our business by breaking into some of those accounts. Luis Gomez has been promoted as well to our Latin American Managing Director. So he's responsible now for Central America as well as South America. And when we looked at R&D, it made perfect sense to actually have our product engineers working more closely with the R&D team. So we've integrated product engineering into R&D. And we now have Dale Whitfield helping us out with software. Dale came over at a moment's notice to help us out with our software and has been doing a terrific job. We've also moved IS, Information Services, into finance, a very common organizational structure. You see that in many companies, and that's primarily because information systems are very closely tied into our financial reporting. And finally, as you may or hopefully have all read, Leticia Rodriguez has been promoted to Global HR Director. As we go forward, we want to become more and more of a global company, a single company globally. And one of the areas that we want to focus on is human resources. So, for example, Leticia has been working on, and I talked about this probably my first day here, a formal performance evaluation process where we will do formal performance evaluations and tie salary and salary increases to performance. You might remember my first day here, I talked about we wanted to be a company that pays for performance. Well, this is going to be the vehicle for doing it. And as a matter of fact, we'll be launching the performance evaluation process with trainings and so on within about a month or so. So we'll be able to hit the ground running in January. Next topic, initiatives. There were a few things I talked about when I first started here, a couple of areas we wanted to focus on. And those have become really our initiatives that the leadership team has been focused on for the past few months. And those are in three major areas. One is sales forecasting. It's imperative that we meet our commitments, right? We build a plan every year and we say, okay, we're going to sell X number of dollars, and as a result of that, we're going to spend X number of dollars in operating expenses, and therefore we'll make X number of dollars in profit. Well, that top line, those sales, that revenue is what makes the company tick, right? And when we miss that, then it becomes a problem, because suddenly, you know, if we miss our top line, then that means as a result we're overspending, right? We have to do something about our operating expenses. And then we get stuck with a whole bunch of inventory, right, which we've seen happen before. It's really hard for the sales team to really know, you know, to have a crystal ball to figure out what we're going to be selling every quarter. But there's a very formalized process that we're following now for managing that forecast going forward, and we call that funnel management. I'll talk about that in a moment. So again, we've developed this formal process around forecasting, and we've got a lot of rigor around managing that funnel. And that funnel is basically the sales projects, the projects that the teams are working on, which will ultimately turn into orders. Next is our product strategy. Some of the products we have, while they're really good, they've served us through a number of years, they're getting a little long in the tooth. It's really important for us, particularly in a high-tech industry like ours, to be able to roll out new products on a regular basis. So what we did was we formed a product strategy team. And that team is a cross-functional team, consists of members across all of the departments in the company. And this team actually works together, and Leon is actually driving this activity. This team works together to develop a roadmap. You know, what are the products we think we need to be working on? And that's based upon what we see in the marketplace. It's what we see our competition doing. And of course, it's based on consensus that we're getting, you know, from our sales and marketing folks, okay, representative of the customer, called basically voice of the customer. And so we're getting into now a rhythm, and we're planning on having new product introductions on a regular basis. We'd like to be able to introduce new products every year. Next is lean practices. We want to bring lean manufacturing into the company. I managed to bring Harjeet along with me when I started here. Harjeet's got tremendous experience in managing lean manufacturing operations. A few major areas we're focusing on is supply chain. You know, with our supply chain, with our suppliers, that's our greatest opportunity for taking cost out of our products, right? If we can negotiate with our suppliers, and what I mean by that is not going out there and beating them over the head about pricing, because it's important that our suppliers be able to win as well, right? So it has to be a win-win situation, and the way we do that are things like contract negotiations, which Harjeet has got a lot of experience in. What we'll give to our supplier is a long-term contract, 2 to 3 years. So now our supplier knows that they've got that business. And what we get in return is we get good costing, because now our suppliers can do large-scale runs, production runs, and they'll hold our inventory for us until we need it. And so one of the things Harjeet will be working on, and I hope I'm not taking the wind out of your sail, but be working on a Kanban process whereby we have a minimal amount of inventory on hand, but we have the right inventory, and we'll have it here when we need it. And then, of course, that is going to help us drive down our inventory in total, put a smile on Colin's face, because we'll have more cash in our pocket. So now, talking about each of those initiatives, I'll first talk about sales forecasting. So what is it? Okay, well, funnel management, it's a methodology we use for tracking sales leads, right? What is a lead? And, you know, I'm sure most of us know intuitively, it's, you know, it could be a service guy out installing a machine, and he hears scuttlebutt in the plant that they're going to install a new line, all right? That could transform into a lead. That information goes to the sales guy. Then we go through a qualification process, or rather first the the qualified lead goes into what we call a raw funnel, right? And that is, okay, that's where we're tracking these projects. We go through a qualification process first. We make sure, okay, is this project real? Does the customer have a budget for it? Will this project occur in a timely manner? In other words, let's say within the next 3 months. Do we know who the approvers are, for example? All right, so we go through this whole qualification process. The lead gets put into the funnel. And then as the sales team works on each of those projects, and it becomes more apparent that we are the choice supplier, it gets put into what we call an adjusted funnel. And the adjusted funnel is saying, okay, these are the projects now we believe, we're 99% sure that we're going to be delivering within the next month, 2 months, 3 months, for example, okay? And it's that adjusted funnel that we try to fill up and make sure that we're going to hit our forecast. If we forecast that we're going to ship, $9 million or $10 million in Q3, all right, we need to make sure that the adjusted funnel is going to support, okay, that $10 million. And if it doesn't, then the sales team works hard to make sure that they can actually backfill with other projects. And so why do we do this? Obviously, to make sure that we can meet our commitments, to make sure that we have the organization, let's say, right-sized, right? We don't want to go out and say, okay, we're going to hire 100 people because we're going to sell $100 million, and then find out we only sold $60 million. We don't have much of a choice then when that happens, because we have to take expense out of the organization, and hence you end up having layoffs. We don't want to do that. We want to plan properly. We want to make sure that we are meeting our commitments. So when we say that we're going to do, $10 million in Q3, we're going to do $10 million. And so we're going through this process, okay, on a regular basis. As I say there, every week. We have a forecast meeting with the directors from each region, okay, every week. It's typically on a Thursday morning. It takes about 2 hours every week, and it's a painful process, but you know what? We've got a really good handle on what's going on right now in terms of our sales. Lo and behold, H2, rather Q2, yeah, it wasn't a very good quarter, but you know what? We started the process right in the beginning of June, and we hit our commitment. Okay, it wasn't a very good commitment, but we did hit it. So we're moving in the right direction and being able to accurately manage our forecast and our funnel. Just to give you an idea in terms of pictorial, this is what it looks like. When we talk about a funnel, basically you take all of those leads that come in at the top and you funnel it down to those projects that you ultimately believe, okay, you are going to get. So you're going to get orders for it. And we go through this whole process, with the sales managers, the regional managing directors, global VP, which is Pascal, and finally with the whole leadership team as well. And again, that's part of we do this every single week. Next, we're going to talk about lean manufacturing. Since I talked about it so much, Harjeet probably has nothing to say, but we'll let him come up here anyhow. Come on up, Harjeet.
Thank you, John. This is a beautiful, good-looking picture, right? That's what I wanted to show you. John said enough. Anyway, beyond that picture, there are two boards you can see. That's what we call visual management. Visual management and daily management. Really, that's the way we actually started that, how we can actually manage our operation through, make it visual. Why visual? Because it's, you can in 30 seconds, anybody walk to those boards and you can see that how we are doing, how the operation is doing. Are we winning or losing? If we are winning, it's green. You can see a lot of green. Or if the day we are not winning, means we didn't ship anything or we didn't produce anything, that is red. So, that is daily management. What we actually cover in that is it's a cross-functional team. Mostly it's focused with, our production folks, that they are getting support from all the support functions, John talked about supply chain management. We are really not there yet, but I think we are working towards that. When I ask Nestor or Roland or Romy, I can see that, they can produce a lot more if we have readily material available. So that is going to be actually really our key area is, working towards that. Now, daily management is a stand-up meeting. It's not really sitting down or, going through computer or so. It should not take more than 15 minutes. We just go through safety, quality, delivery, productivity, and inventory. All those things John talked about, very important. So it's also with the way it is importance. If we talk about safety first, we want to make sure, everybody is safe, it's a safe work environment. So that's number one. The second is quality. It's a given. We cannot compromise quality to ship anything to our customer. The thing is, next is delivery. Of course, we want to ship, as customer want, the timely basis, those. Not only customer wants, but of course, we want to make sure we achieve the revenue, all those, the plans we have. And next is inventory. We talked enough, make sure, we have the right inventory. Now, in terms of that material or supply chain management, we actually also looking at, those adjusted funnel. I'm part of that. Every Thursday we look at that. Then our material guys, Chuck and Pam, they look into that. They adjust also our build plan. So we have those material long lead items already planned, because a lot of time we actually start the work, when the order comes. However, we need to plan those long lead items. Okay, so that's what we talked, over there. But we also, really the purpose of the meeting is, drive actions with a sense of urgency to support, those guys, who are working and producing the product. Okay. The second one is the inventory management. We started actually a few weeks ago. Of course, we have a lot of inventory which is not useful inventory. First, we are working on cleaning up of that MRB process, the credit upon receipt kind of process. We have too much actually inventory sitting over there. How we can actually quickly move those through the process and not having that, distressed inventory sitting over there. So, and we go through other, warehouse inventory things too. And I see actually the team made good progress, both on daily management and on inventory side, but we need to refine those processes so we can actually be more productive or so. The next thing is this team, another thing did is the layout, the re-layout of the assembly area. You probably see that now we have actually 3 product lines. OmniVision, that was almost already there. Then, the fell level was, scattered everywhere. So, we have now fell level line, and then we have, our new, we can say Vision Tech, or I will call Intellect Plus Vision, that line. So those are the 3 lines. Now, this is the first step to actually do a lot more or use those lean tools. Those lean tools are, how we can actually eliminate a lot of layers of bill of materials, how we can flatten that. So, we are not really going through all these different transactions or handling the same parts again and again. Also inventory at the point of use, working with supplier to set up Kanban programs or so. So I think those are the activities upcoming. We're going to work on that. This project, I really want to thank team, the facility team, Mike and Dan, the manufacturing team, Aaron, Jose, Carlos, Rolando. They actually did that huge work in a very short period of time. So that was good, and we didn't lose any time. It was done actually on the weekend or so. So thank you for that. Now the empty space also, we came up with about 2,000 square foot space, and now we need to actually utilize that space for good reasons, so we can have new product prototyping. We can set up, that really the bill of material the way we want to actually see it flows through the supply chain and through the production line. So we will be working on those things. We're not there yet, but that's the those are the good things actually we can utilize that space. One last point I want to talk about the lean tool is that we're going to do actually more and more continuous improvement project, and the tool for that is we call Kaizen events, means the continuous improvement, and those are team based. And I'm really glad to announce that we're going to have actually our first Kaizen cross-functional team Kaizen next week, and our shy member Pascal, he's going to actually lead the team, and of course John is sponsor for that, and that the purpose of that is really improving our customer I will say sales order, but it's actually customer purchase order. What happens is we actually, a lot of time we get the purchase order, but we don't get the technical information. So we cannot move forward, you know, like, okay, what we're going to build, okay. And a lot of back and forth, time waste between, you know, customer service and engineering resources, manufacturing resources. So this is our attempt, actually, 3-day event to have the cross-functional team to improve that. Thank you.
Good morning. So working on what Harjit was talking about, how do we lower inventory, how do we get our product that we can produce it in high volume, how do we do all of that? You know, you guys know our product range at the moment. It's a variety of products and a variety of different platforms, a variety of different electronic boards, power supplies, what have you. None of that is conducive to reducing reducing inventory. So how do you do that? So we've been working with the R&D team on basically designing the concept Harjit was on about into our product. So how do we do that? So we've come up with the Intellect Plus. I think many of you guys out there have heard about the Intellect Plus. Basically what we're doing is we're going to use this as our platform for every single product we build moving forward. Not only for every product we build, but we've managed to engineer into it facilities to upgrade our entire install base of products around the world. So we basically doubled, you know, our opportunity for sale. So if you look at the Intellect Plus, what we're doing is we're going away from having all of these different products to fulfill all these different applications to basically one product with a lot of options on it. So the Intellect Plus, as you see there, will drive the new case inspector. You're able to upgrade all the old case inspectors to the new system. All our full level systems that are in the field are fully upgradable. The new full level system will be on that platform, likewise with Aurotech. And you can mix and match. You know, you can have a combination of vision with the system and gamma, vision and thermal imaging. So it's basically many, many products on one platform. How does that help Harjit? Well, there's only one system he's really building, which is the Intellect Plus. So we can buy that in volumes, you know, for every single product. So it brings the cost down, brings the parts down, brings inventory down, fits right in. Give you an example of modularity. So if we take the Intellect Plus and we want to convert it into a full loaded vision system, like we know the VisionTech, we'll supply kits for it, add a few components that are common across the range, and you have your VisionTech. Okay? So someone who buys a full level inspector with the Intellect Plus on it, a new system now has the potential to upgrade that system in the field to a fully blown VisionTech. So going back, why are we doing all of this? Very simple, to go back to cut our inventory significantly. If you think about it from a subsidiary or distributor perspective, your inventory now is very low. Basically, if you keep an Intellect Plus in inventory, you can upgrade any of your full level devices that fail out there very rapidly. You have the parts internally there for all the systems you have out there, I mean, it really makes a lot of sense. Good, thank you.
Actually, I don't know what happened. We had a couple more slides. I don't know where they went. So we caught them off guard there. But I do want to add a comment here. I think the entire organization is really excited about the Intellect Plus. You know, with Leon's leadership, you know, the product strategy team has come together, and we see and hear globally that this is the right approach. We've heard it from our customers. You know, Leon and Christian met with AB InBev, you know, our biggest customer, met with a couple of guys who run global engineering, and they're excited about this approach. They agree this is the way of the future. And so we see huge potential for this approach. And the best part is we have a lot of the pieces. Because of the approach that Leon and R&D took in terms of how to put this together, a lot of this stuff already exists. So we actually are having a formal product release meeting tomorrow, and this is where all the stakeholders get together and agree, yep, this is ready to go into production. Everything's done, everything's ready, it's been proven, we have documentation, we have everything we need. We've tested it, and we know it's good to go. So we're going to be in production in a matter of, what, a week or so? Harjeet has already said by the time we get done with Drink Tech, we'll be able to be shipping product. So we're really excited about being able to talk about this with our customers, and some of those key customers have already given back, you know, some really great feedback. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been involved in making this happen. We really believe this is going to be the way of the future. So now, talking about...
I don't know I said or not, but no, it's a commitment.
That's right. Very good, Harjeet. Now I want to talk a moment about personnel announcements, then we'll talk about Spot Awards. And one of the things we'd like to do going forward is recognizing and introducing new employees. Now, since this is our first town hall meeting, we decided to more or less introduce everybody that's joined us since the beginning of 2017. And it's a pretty big team. We've got roughly 12 people that have joined us, and it's on a global basis, including yours truly, of course. And you know, really nice. You know, we've hired some really good people, and we're pretty excited about this. So I would ask you all to just maybe give a round of applause to all our new employees. Now, the other thing we'd like to do as well is recognize years of service. And in doing so, the key milestones that we'd like to recognize are really in 5-year increments. And so the first group that we would like to introduce and congratulate are those employees that have been with the company for 5 years. And so as you can see, we've got a bunch, I think 10. Melissa, Irene, Jeffrey, Julia, Maria, Zenoy, Gilbert, Louise, Fabiola, Joe. And so I'd like to say congratulations to all of you and thank you for your service. Next, 10 years. And here again, we still have a really nice team. Christian, Ian, Volke, Felix, Susanna, Danielle, and Arnulfo. So again, I'd like to say thank you very much. 10 years, that's really great. And if you can believe it, 20 years, right? That was before I was born even, if you can imagine. And here again, Michael, congratulations. And we're not done. 25 years. We have 3 employees that have been here for 25 years. Come on, stand up and take a bow. And we're not done. One more. If you can believe it, a 30-year anniversary. And I'd like to say congratulations to Marcos. Marcos, stand up, take a bow. You know, that's really terrific. It says a lot about the company. It says a lot about the employees here in the company. It shows that, you know, a level of loyalty that is just, it's almost unrecognizable anywhere else. You know, in these days and these times, company loyalty is something that's almost unheard of. And I'd really like to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. That really is appreciated. That's just tremendous that somebody would stick with the company through, you know, good times as well as bad times. And that really means a lot. So again, thank you very much. Now next, what I'd like to talk about next are Spot Awards. Something I guess we kind of new to the company. And this name, there's not a formal definition, but historically what it means is it's supposed to mean on the spot. And so you reward somebody for exceptional work on the spot, right? That's where the term comes from, known throughout, I guess, the HR industry. And in our case, what we would really like to do is really reward exceptional performance, okay? And the way it works is this comes from the managers, right? Managers and supervisors. Anybody can nominate somebody for a Spot Award, okay? And we really want to say thank you. We know a lot of times that people do things, you know, above and beyond what would be considered, you know, normal duties and responsibilities. And we just want you to know that we really do appreciate it. We recognize it and we appreciate it. So first off, we would like to recognize BJ from Finance. Don't sit down yet. Wait. You got to read a little blurb here now. Okay. So BJ developed a report which provides management the ability to understand its true gross margin at the entity level, both the IDC and subsidiaries, and overall product family. Historically, the company has looked at its gross margins from a standard basis without consideration to financial variances which impact the overall gross margin results. The report was developed in less than 3 months, and this was in addition to his normal duties. And what this does for us is it gives us a real picture of, you know, how we're doing with each individual product. You know, do we have the right cost, are the costs right relative to the pricing, or conversely, you know, is it true that we have the right price in consideration of the cost? And we know it's a lot of work to develop something like this. So again, thank you, BJ. Next, we'd like to recognize Steve Kapp and Felix Choi from Asia. Steve and Felix accomplished success in the product launch of VisionTech and Boonrod and Pepsi Dallas. They worked extensive hours and met the customer's timeline to finish both projects while under a great deal of pressure from the customer. And their commitment to these 2 projects has led to additional orders from these same customers. You know, we mentioned earlier that we've had some product issues. You know, maybe we put products out there we shouldn't have prematurely. These are the guys that had to deal with unhappy customers and really making it happen out in the field. So thank you both, guys.
We're going to send them their things.
Right. Next, Gerardo, Rafael, and Carlos.
Come on down.
Come on, guys.
Come on down. Rafael,
The other guys aren't here?
Rafael, come on.
Come on.
And Carlos Rodriguez. Carla, I know Carlos is here. Oh,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Congratulations. Congratulations.
So these guys showed a willingness to meet the customer's required shipments, above and beyond normal work hours, weekends, and so on. And they worked as a team and assembled all the Star Wheels that were required to ship. And by doing so, it really helped us meet our financial commitments as well as the customer's deadlines. So again, thank you very much, guys. Next, Rolando. Come on up, Rolando. So as Harjit showed you earlier, we have a new floor plan out on the production floor. He was tasked with developing that new floor plan and executing the move. He developed teams for moving equipment, including developing a team to rearrange the equipment and inventory. The deadline was August 21st, but he completed the project by August 8th, 2 weeks ahead of schedule. And as well, he gave us 2,000 square feet of additional space that we can set up as a tennis court now. So thank you, Rolando. And next, Nadia. So Nadia documented the base design of Filtec in a very short period of time and resolved a lot of the detailed issues and continues to do so diligently. You might remember we talked about Filtec, some of the hiccups we've had. R&D really pulled out a miracle in pulling together a redesign, which was essentially a complete redesign in a matter of weeks, and actually getting the first, I would say, really solid product off to our customers right on schedule. So thank you, Nadia. Next, Jose.
Thank you.
So, don't sit down here, come on. So twice this quarter, Jose responded to urgent shipments for customer service while he was off schedule. Sunday, July 16th, to fulfill an overnight request for a machine that was down for our customer. And actually, I remember that. We had a really tough situation down in South America, and thank you. It really made a difference. And the second was a last-minute request for urgent service parts. Jose packed the parts and drove them off to FedEx on a Saturday for a Monday morning arrival. Great, thank you very much, appreciate it. Next, Bob. There's Bob. So Bob does all the R&D, product engineering, product management, production support, testing support, high-level field support, and training for the OmniVision 3. He's basically a one-man show managing the OV3. God, please don't ever get sick. And finally, Filtec Butner, who is in Europe in field service. He solved many issues with the new equipment like Auratech and at Darguna, a key customer of ours in the Filtec there, as well as Carlsberg, Poland. And because of some startup difficulties, he worked a whole lot of hours, brought in a lot of new ideas, and again, turned those problematic situations into successful launches. So thank you very much. Okay, so that's it for our spot awards. And I said As I mentioned earlier, going forward, it's our intention that each quarter, when we have a town hall, we'll recognize superior performance, above and beyond the call of duty for that previous quarter. But again, I would like to thank you all for such a fine job. Now, before we get to questions and answers, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. And that is, I remember when I started here, even before I started here, when I was talking with SFW, we had heard that there were some issues regarding salaries, and folks haven't seen salary increases in a long time. And I even promised you on my first day that this was something we were going to actually take a look at. So I want to announce to you all that effective September 4th, there will be a cost of living increase globally. I apologize, you haven't seen anything in a long time. We're going to make this right, and going forward, as I mentioned earlier as well, we'll be doing performance evaluations at the end of every year, and the result of those evaluations will be used to determine what salary increases will be annually on a going forward basis. So again, thank you, and thanks for your patience. The details of these cost of living increases will be coming out within the next couple of days, okay? But it is engraved in stone. It's going to happen. So, having said that, I'd now like to turn it over to Q&A, and I think there's some magic we can do here as well to open this up remotely. But I'll turn this over to Alice and Brent to do that. But anyhow, anybody have questions? I'm sure the big one was going to be the salary, right? Yeah, I preempted you guys this time. No, but really, are there any questions either here or remotely? Everybody's happy as a clam, huh? Nothing at all. That's really surprising. Come on, there must be something. Well, nothing here, nothing remote, so, yes, all right, Bob.
Just a question about the benefits that we have right now. Is that including as right now? Yeah, we're talking to our broker now. No one really finds out if there's any increases in the benefits until after September, but we'll be getting some information, and we always hope for better, the best for everyone at a low cost, obviously. Really, what we hope for is no increase, because it would be very rare if we got a decrease. But yes, that's in the works as it is every year, but we don't know anything until September. No. Well, I mean, I suppose there would be if there were more, if we were even a bigger company. We're not there yet. Okay.
Any thoughts to changing the matching in the 401k?
Do we have it? I mean, that's always great for discussion, and that would be something I don't know. I haven't really talked to my.
I'm not sure you're really competitive at this level, so that's why.
Well, yeah, that's something that we would have to discuss from the management.
Yeah, we haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, fair enough. I guess I'd like to add on to this comment is that a greater matching would maybe get higher participation. I know we always suffer with the amount of participation. And,
we actually have a really, really good participation almost everyone participates. What it is the salaries are very, there's a difference in salary, but many people who participate. We've got a great participation rate. That's what everyone says, and I agree.
Anything else? Anything remotely? Europe, Asia, anywhere? Well, it doesn't look like it. So in that case, I know everybody's raring to go back to work. So far be it from me to hold you up. And again, I'd like to thank you all for all of your work, your hard work, and your efforts. And hopefully we'll have a great second half this year. Thank you.